her voice is right. I'm like, yeah, listen to it. You're annoying. And things have gotten weird. I just feel bad for Alicia at this point. Hello, and welcome to the second week of Escape Readathon. Actually, it's a little bit more than the second week. Unpacking and getting everything back to kind of normal. And, of course, spending time with my puppies who are very happy to see us. Hi, Ellie. Anyways, we are still on pages. I started a book today. I started Japanese Gothic. If you don't know what Escape the Readathon is, it is a team-based readathon. This is the fourth year, I believe, and it is spaceship, space themed. We're trying to escape a spaceship before the aliens get us. It's team-based. There's prompts, there's pages, there's lots of fun things. So first we have to read for a prompt, and once we've read enough books to unlock the door, then we get to go in the room, and then there's usually some sort of event, and we have to read for pages to solve whatever problem that we're having. And we are reading for pages at the moment. It could change pretty soon though, I think. So I am reading Japanese Gothic. I don't have the book over here, but I have the pretty copy from Aardvark. This is by Kylie Lee Baker. I'm only, I think, like 20-something% into it. It is a Gothic horror, historical horror story. We have a current timeline and a historical timeline. In the current timeline, we were following a man, he's in college, who just moved to Japan with his father. He doesn't have a very good relationship with his father. He looks a lot like his mother, and his mother went missing when he was a kid. And he feels like his father just doesn't look at him in a loving way, and feels like he's a reminder of his mother, and he's not a son that he would want to have. He's also not a very reliable narrator. He takes a lot of sedatives to deal with his anxieties and his problems. And his father has some sort of a heart condition, and he's afraid that he will die and have a heart problem at any moment if he does something wrong. This boy also believes that he perhaps did something to his roommate back at home. But like I said, he is an unreliable narrator. He doesn't have any evidence of that. He just feels like this is what happened to his roommate. So he's sort of running away from that problem as well. And so they move into this house. It's a samurai house. So samurais used to live there back in the day when they were a thing. And he starts experiencing some creepy things. He sees this girl in the window. He just becomes convinced that he is seeing a ghost or someone who used to live in the house. And then in the past timeline, we have a girl who was trained to be a samurai, even though girls aren't samurai, even though samurais are sort of defunct at this point. And her growing up was brutal. Everything her father did to sort of train her was very abusive and bad, in my opinion. Yeah, you could say that. Lots of horrible things he did to hit her as well as his family in the name of being a samurai, and even those at the samurai school thought that the things that he did were a bit too extreme. And so we're getting her story, and also she's seeing the boy from the present timeline, and of course she doesn't believe. She thinks he's a demon or something. And so they are kind of have this like time portal where they can talk to each other, and I've just gotten to the point where they started speaking to each other, and so looking forward to see what happens. It doesn't feel very horror-y at this point. I mean, it's horrifying what her father did to her. It seems to be a book about grief and fathers for sure. Both of our main characters have daddy issues. There is imagery of a dead baby. There has been some infanticide in this, so just be aware of that. But at one point she sees a spirit of a dead child, and the descriptions of that are pretty gross and horrifying. Right now I'm trying to edit my first week of the Readathon's reads because I didn't vlog them because we were at Disney World. So I'm going to edit that and get that up. And I've got my very snuggly puggly right here. I did run 3 miles today. I don't know, guys. I feel like my breath is just not there. I'm like not going fast at all, and I'm like gasping and wheezing. So I need to make an appointment for a pulmonologist and see what the heck is going on there. But I'm sure I won't get in for like 6 months. I also made my mammogram appointment and ordered new glasses today. So that is good. I did those things that I hate doing, that I put off forever, but I did do them. I do need to go to the library today to return some books and to pick up a hold. So you can't see me, I'm too dark. I am about 200 pages into Japanese Gothic right now, and I don't know how much I'm liking it. I'm liking it, but I'm not loving it at this point. It's much more magical, mystical, messing, I don't know, time travel sort of, not really ness that I thought it was going to be. I knew that these two timelines are going to interact with each other, but I didn't think I realized how much they would interact with each other in kind of a real, quote unquote, real way. Like physically being in each other's timeline. So I'm not really getting that. And there's not like any horror in here so far. And other than that one depiction that I mentioned earlier, it's not really what I'm wanting it to be, but it's interesting. Like, I'm intrigued enough to continue. We'll have to see how it ends. But I don't really know how much I'm invested in either character. What the girl Sen has gone through is horrendous. What the boy has gone through is also horrendous. But we don't really know the background of their lives really as much as I would need, I think, to be invested. But I don't know. I don't know if that even makes sense. But just for some reason, I'm not as invested as I thought I would be. But I think the same thing happened to me with Bat Eater. And people really seem to love that one, and I just liked that one. So maybe Kylie Baker is just not a 5-star R author for me. But I would try again. I'm enjoying my time. I'm just not blown away yet. But we still have over 200 pages to go, so that could change. And I did end up going to the library to pick up my hold. I got A Touch of Jen on Sarah from Goodreads recommendation, and I think I could really like this. Or not. So we'll see where I fall. One of the crazy people in its name is Lilisha. So that'll be interesting. So I've read another 50 pages in Japanese Gothic, and I feel like I can see where this is going. I'm liking a little bit more as we're getting more and more information and things are coming together and we're kind of understanding what's going on a little bit more. I'm still curious about what happened to James. I'm still curious about what happened to Lee's mother as she disappeared when he was a child. And I'm hoping we're going to get some answers there. The more that they're interacting together, the more interesting it is getting. The clearer that James's memory is becoming, the more I'm enjoying it. And so we'll see. This is really well done. I just want to say that. Like, even if I don't end up loving it, this is super well done. It's just not maybe what people are expecting with a horror novel, especially after her last one was pretty horror, you know? So I'm liking this more now. It's definitely like a kind of a slow burn. I mean, it is Japanese Gothic, and Gothics usually tend to be more of a slow start to them and to like Gothic stories. And so So while I have you, our team just got out of the room. I'm so excited. It seems like that one took forever. And before they did, I was able to submit pages for Japanese Gothic. So excited. I was so excited. I was probably one of the last people to submit pages for this. So that made me very happy because I'm not sure if this would have counted for our next prompt. So now we have to choose between a few rooms, and we have to choose between a prompt, several different prompts. And yeah, so I finished this up. I'm going to give it a 3. Sort of feeling ambivalent about it. So I think that's why it's a 3-star. I enjoyed my time with it, but I didn't love it. I didn't like it enough to make it a 4-star. Yeah, but I liked the past timeline. I liked the mythology. Some parts of this had like some mythological stories and connections, which I enjoyed. The present timeline though, meh. I just didn't like it all that much. How it all came together was interesting. It did some things I don't love with memory. It felt the present timeline kind of felt thrillery to me with the unreliable narrator, the memory, mental health type stuff, and that kind of annoyed me a bit, and I didn't love that. But I still enjoyed my time with it, so I think a 3-star is the right move here. Now I have to try to decide what to read next. I'm not sure. I'm going to probably wait and see what my team decides to go with as far as the room we're going to try to unlock Next, I definitely have some options. I was thinking about starting Gone to See the Riverman. I don't think this is underhyped, but I don't know. I might go watch some underhyped videos to get ideas for that if we go with that room. Not quite sure. I also have a bunch of NetGalleys I need to get to in May for June, but I might just wait and do all those next week, like in a separate vlog, like an Escape the Readathon Ready Set Net vlog, but I don't know, because most of them, I think I have a couple maybe that aren't horror, but most of those are horror, and that might just be a lot of horror in a row. So as you can see, I'm undecided. So last night our team was able to get out of the room finally, and we voted on a new room to try to get into, and the prompt to unlock that room is to read a book that is underrated. So I decided to read A Touch of Jen since I just picked this up from the library yesterday. This was in Sarah's video about underrated books, so I thought I would give it a try. This is supposed to be a weird girl book. It's about a couple, Alicia and Remy, and they're obsessed or have a preoccupation with a woman named Jen. Is it Jen? Yeah. Jen, that Remy used to work with and had a crush on. And they go through her social media and they sort of make a joke / not a joke about Remy still having feelings for her, even though they never dated. He just liked her. And Alicia tries to act like Jen and says, oh, maybe I should put on a Jen mask and have sex with you that way, which is pretty weird. And I hear this gets unhinged obsession type story. Maybe. I am 190 pages in. Nothing too crazy has happened yet. I mean, they're obviously don't have a very healthy relationship. They're on a surfing trip that they got invited on by Jen, because they went to some event that they knew she was going to be at because of social media. And so Remy and Jen reconnected, talking about their old job, and they got themselves invited on this surfing trip. Remy doesn't want to go, but Alicia really pushes to go, which is weird. She just wants to be like accepted by these people that she doesn't even know, and it's really kind of pathetic and sad. And she ends up being like really good at surfing, and Remy's like not good at all, but that's besides the point, which I kind of enjoyed that. I'm like, yeah, go girl. Enjoy something that has nothing to do with him. We're getting more information about the relationship. I guess they got together in a not so nice way. At one point, a woman that they're on the trip with, Carla, she says that they have crazy energy. So I'm sure that is foreshadowing for the rest of this book, according to the synopsis. And then this part that I just read, it says, Remy laughs and says, how fucked up would it be if I broke up with you in the middle of this trip? Alicia looks at him and drinks a water bottle. Pretty fucked up. Like, who says that to their partner in front of them? That's pretty awful. Yeah, I'm liking this so far. I mean, I've flown through the first 100 pages, so I wanted to make sure to update you about this. I don't know, maybe I didn't pay attention to reviews of this, but I didn't realize that they actually came in contact with Jen and like went on a trip with her. I figured they were just like going to socially media stalk her and maybe try to get into a friendship or whatever, but that's just like right off the bat. So I thought that was interesting, and I wasn't expecting. Jen is like very new agey, woo-woo-y with her new boyfriend Horace, who's a surf instructor, and he's very fish spirit, hippy dippy. Jen talks about like these self-help book called The Apple Bush. It's an interesting name for a book, a self-help book. Anyways, I broke off the arm on my glasses, which is very sad. So now I have to buy myself some new glasses. I ordered some on Warby Parker because if I order them through my eye doctor, they end up being like over $1,000, like crazy amount of money. I have really thick lenses, so I have -7, -6.5 when I wear my contacts, and so I have to get like the thinner ones. And when you get them through your prescriber, through your eye doctor, they're just so freaking expensive. So I am going to try for the first time to get some glasses through Warby Parker, and we'll see how those look and how that goes. So I'm hoping that I like them, because I really did like these glasses, but I've had them for, I don't know, 6 years now. Maybe something like that. It's 5 or 6 years now. And yeah, the arm broke off, and we tried super gluing it, and it did get me through the Disney trip, but then it broke off again. I'm also considering starting The Dumb House by John Burnside. A long time ago, I want to say a couple years ago, I think Jordan mentioned this on a underrated books video, and I wanted to check this out. This is about a child whose mother tells a story of this, how the babies were raised in complete silence, becomes obsessed with language, I think, and he dissects things, becomes obsessed with death, starts experimenting on his own children. I don't know. I don't know really, but I was interested. I remember being very interested when Jordan was talking about it, so I want to give this a shot as well. I don't know if I'll get through both of these before we unlock the room. There's definitely a chance that I will. And then I think I'm going to listen to maybe Little Eve by Catriona Ward. I have access to that on Hoopla, and I have that book, and I haven't read it in a long time. And I want to say that is underhyped too, because I never hear anyone talk about that, Catriona. So that is the plan. What do you think of a touch of Jen? Do we like her? I don't know yet.
What's the cutest voice up, baby? I love you. Hey, beautiful lady. Yes, it's a beautiful. I know. It's almost time, but it's not quite time yet, is it? This is just a sad pug because you won't give her any snack. She looks miserable.
Done with my run, and I ran some errands. I filled up the gas tank, and picked up my husband's prescriptions. I ran 3 miles. It went fine. I don't know, my body's just not feeling it the last few runs, so I don't know what's going on with that. So hopefully it's just a little bad few days and it'll get better, so we shall see. On my run, I started listening to Little Eve by Catriona Ward. And this is a gothic-y story, an island off of Scotland. It's a group of people who are culty and believe certain things, like a small group of people that have run away, living in this abandoned castle, I think, and they worship some snake god they call the Adder. Yeah, there's like some children on the island. There's a couple of women, couple of dudes, I think. They worship the snake god, and their uncle is the one that is the leader and has all these ideas. Then we have Little Eve, who wants to be the next person who sees through the eyes of the snake or whatever. And so it's the story of their life on the island so far and what it's like. And then we also have a future timeline. It's not that far in the future, where this group of people was killed off ritualistically. One of them was left alive, and she's looking back at her time on the island and trying to move on with her life. A lot of typical cult things here, questioning how they came to be on the island. Some of the adults questioning whether this is a good life or not, them being shunned and punished for questioning or seeking knowledge. Feeling like a 3-star so far, but it'll depend on what happens. I feel like this one is underhyped, but there might be a reason for that. So just a little bit of an update. They're still on the trip. Alicia woke up in the middle, well, she slept walk and woke everybody up because she did something to Jen. And also at the same time, Joe saw some alien-like creature. Not Joe, Remy, sorry. Remy saw some alien-like creature outside. We don't know what it was, but the way it was described was like shiny opalescent with giant eyeballs without pupils, I guess, and a knock at the door. So we don't know what that's about. That's an odd inclusion in this book. And there's been a little bit more of Remy interacting with Jen, and in a way that suggests that maybe Jen and Remy might have some things go on between them. And I just feel bad for Alicia at this point. I mean, there's been some discussion of her childhood, of really awful things that she went through. She had an eating disorder. She was hospitalized for bulimia, according to her. And her parents did some really questionable / abusive parenting. And so I just feel bad for her. I kind of trauma dumped on the group, which is not usually a good thing to do, especially without the group's consent. Surfing, she's still surfing and she's having a good time doing that. But mostly I just feel bad for her because obviously she shouldn't be with this guy who just wants to be with this other gal. She is just, I feel like, kind of there as a replacement for something that he wants until he can get what he really wants. If I didn't know this goes off the rails, I would just think this is kind of meh. But I'm interested because there's an interesting dynamic going on. It's like, because of the synopsis and from me watching other people's reviews of this, that it's a wild ride. So I'm curious to see how that all plays out. So I'm going to keep reading. I'm only on page 115 now. I haven't read a ton more of this afternoon. I actually fell asleep. I was exhausted, so I took a little nap. The dogs were all snuggled with me. It was a little too cozy, and I ended up falling asleep. But I'm going to sit here and read this for the next half hour at least until my son gets home, and we'll see if anything more interesting happens. I thought this line was funny. Remy's talking to Jen and his opinion on all her friends and this group of people. And he says, wow, you guys are so cool with your open relationship and your weekend house and your one-armed surf instructors and your horoscopes and your endorsements of bestiality. You're so open that Horace is even fine with you hooking up with someone in his mom's house while he's at happy hour. Endorsements of bestiality. Yikes. Okay, so things have gotten weird. They've taken a turn. I'm confused, but I'm sure I maybe won't be later. But anyway, there were some quotes on page 140. This is in reference to Alicia. It says, she still believes in reaching an essential part of herself through discipline. If she does everything right, she'll find her way to some mystical nugget, a form in which her body is self-evident, her destiny clear, her neuroses shriveled and fallen away. Often that version has seemed as concrete as a person sitting in the next room. It makes sense that eventually that person might knock on the door. And so we've had several instances of knocks on the door, so I'm sure that is some sort of foreshadowing, but I don't know what. And this is Remy talking to Alicia, and he says, this is like 16 pages later, he says, I hope your final transformation isn't a sadist who I can't take anymore. It's just something working itself out. When the people go on juice cleanses, their body rebels. You feel awful and you have crazy shits because your body is purging itself of the bad matter, and then you become clean. I just hope our relationship lasts through this purge, he says, hoping that Alicia will recognize it as a veiled ultimatum. She doesn't react. Me too. So there's that. I'm not quite now, like something has happened and I'm very confused as to where this is going now. I'm sure it's going to go in a weird direction. I thought it was going to go in one direction, but this is not where I thought it was going. And so I'm very curious to see what'll happen. This like middle part though, I would say I wasn't like thrilled by. I was a little bit bored, but like at the same time still intrigued and like still curious as to what exactly Alicia and Remy have going on in their heads. So it was interesting to observe their behavior and the choices they were making. On page 185 now. I have to leave here in like 10 minutes, so maybe I'll read one more chapter and then head off to get my daughter. But I am now on part 4. I have like 50 pages left of this, and I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm enjoying this. I think it was a 3, and now I'm leaning towards a 2. However, if the ending, I know the ending is supposed to be shocking, but I'm 50 pages from the ending, and I'm bored. This reads more of just a bunch of 20-somethings magikarping their way through life, and they need therapy, and they're just like floundering around, and there's some messiness and drama and poor decision making and unlikable. They're all unlikable characters. I don't know if I care anymore. You know that there's something that's going to happen, that there's some foreboding going on. I feel like that's the only thing that's keeping me reading. If it wasn't for that, I would have DNF'd this, I think, at this point. Even if it was like 200 pages in, I would have DNF'd it. There's been some surprises along the way that have kept me reading, but I don't know if it's enough to redeem this for me, and it's making me sad because Sarah from Wicked Reading, we tend to agree or hard disagree on things, and so this could be a disagree on our parts, so that's sad because I wish this was over. So that's not good. But according to people, it's a wild ride at the end, so I just want to get to the wildness of it because I'm just kind of bored at this point. I feel like we needed less of this book. Less. Like 200 pages less. Like this would be better as a 50 to 100 page short story. It's reminding me of my feelings during Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I DNF'd with like 50 pages to go because I was just so bored and did not care. Maybe I'm just too old. Maybe I'm just too old for this book. Hey, I'm about to go to bed. I finished up A Touch of Jen. I don't know. I'm really conflicted on my rating. Everyone in here is horrible and narcissistic and toxic. Lots of toxic relationships in here. Remy is a horrible boyfriend. He's disgusting. I have very little sympathy and empathy for the characters in here other than Alicia a little bit. I do feel kind of bad for her. She seems like she had a rough time and did not have anyone that really cares about her at all. And so that was sad to see. But other than that, this is more about like toxic culture, social stuff, relationships, friendships, etc. Toxic self-help. The roommate, Alex, he was the only person in this book that I liked. There's a parrot at one point, Sally, that I liked. But I don't have to like characters. You have to like an unlikable character for sure to appreciate this book at all. I was thinking like a 2.5 because I did like parts of it, but I was really struggling with some other parts of it. I mean, like I said, I found the characters intriguing and just how they were handling things intriguing, but also it just kind of a little like convoluted. Like there's things in here that I don't think needed to be in here. I wanted to hear way more from Alicia's point of view. We got way too much Remy in my opinion. Way too much Remy in my opinion. The ending, the last 50 pages or so kind of saved it a little bit for me. It was much more interesting, the things that were happening. And the ending, I wasn't surprised by because of some of the inferences I was making while I was reading, but I thought it was a fun way to end the story. You don't get all the answers, but I did enjoy the ending, so I feel like maybe a 3. I think I'll be thinking about it for a while, so maybe it was a 3.5, but while I was reading it, I was struggling some points, but I read it in a day, so how much was I really struggling? So it feels like a 3.5 maybe. I don't know. I think I'm going to go, since I wavered between a 2 and a 3.5, I think I'm just going to give it a 3 and just call it a day. But it's not a 3 where I read it, it was fine, and I'm going to forget about it. It's more like a 3 where I was bored at certain points in this, and the pacing for me was not great. Looking back at it, I think there are things that could have improved it greatly. However, there were parts of this that were like more 5-star-y to me, and so it's like a 3 on an average of how I felt while reading it, not a 3 where I just felt average about it the whole time. And so yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3 for this one. And I did not listen to any more of my audiobook today, which was Little Eve, but I might read a little bit of this before bed, but I don't know if I'll get much into it. I might just read the first few pages to like kind of taste test it so I can read this tomorrow. It's 8:20 in the morning. I just had my breakfast and my Monster. I am ready to read now. I get up about 6 a.m., 5:45 on weekdays to get the kids ready for school. So that just includes I make sure they have everything they need and wake their bums up because they're preteens and teenagers now. So getting them up is, I mean, I would say that my kids are pretty good about getting up in the morning other than growling at me. I told my son his hair was getting long and luscious this morning because I'm a big dork and he goes, Mom, you know I don't like it when you talk weird to me. I'm like, what was weird about that? Your hair's getting long. That's all I said. So yeah, teenagers, life with teenagers. Anyway, I did start, oh, that's upside down, The Dumb House last night. What's his name? John Burnside. And I think I might have said what this is about already, but I'm going to repeat it here just in case. This is about a man who growing up has a weird relationship with his mother. I don't know how weird it is, but parts I've read so far, it's weird. It tells him this story of a house where the emperor or someone with power wanted to do an experiment. So he got a bunch of babies and put them in a house with caregivers who were dumb. They couldn't talk. They were not capable of speaking. And so these kids were raised completely by someone who couldn't talk. And it was to test some hypothesis about like where the soul is inhabited or something. So he became obsessed with this idea. And later on, he experiments on his own children. First line of this book is, "No one could say it was my choice to kill the twins any more than it was my decision to bring them into the world." It says, I chose to perform the laryngectomies, if only to halt their constant singing. Almost 4 years before, I had began the single most important experiment that a human can perform, to find the locus of the soul, the one gift that sets us apart from the animals, to find it first by an act of deprivation and then later by a logical and necessary destruction. So far, he's a very detached narrator. Seems like a psychopath, obviously, or sociopath. Doesn't seem to have any feelings, but we'll see. It's pretty dense, at least the beginning bits are pretty dense. A lot of text, a lot of walls of text. And it's interesting so far. Obviously, I don't agree with this man. It's operating on his children, but there's been a lot that I have underlined so far. He's talking about his father. He said, "I think he was more afraid of me than he was of mother. He was haunted by a possible betrayal, by seeming to be the one who intruded between us. So he adopted the role mother had prescribed for him, the role of an invisible husband." I remember in my psych classes, I have a bachelor's in psychology. We talked a lot about psychologists' discussion and studies of and arguments over where the soul is in the body and if the soul is a thing. A lot of conversations about that I feel like I remember in a lot of my psychology classes, like history of psych classes and things. So it's an interesting thing to read about. I'm very much someone who likes to read about the history of psychology, and it's very sordid. I'm liking the writing. It is lighting up my brain, so we'll see how the rest of this goes. Of course, I sit down and I can't find my pen. Where did I put you? Anybody else lose pens constantly? Just sitting down? Or is it just me? Oh, I gotta go grab a pen. Did you guys see that? When I got up? A pen. The same exact one I was missing. Yikes, yikes, I got some blanks. Coming up, right? Are you coming up? Come on, come on. Page 67, but this is what I'm talking about. I start reading a book and the writing and just the curiosity that I have just has me in a chokehold for this book. Oh my god. Oh, I mean, yeah, it's definitely detached sociopath narrative writing. It's first person and this guy is a total sociopath, and you're slowly going back and forth between his adulthood and his childhood. Everything's sort of subtle, but then in your face at the same time. I am just loving the writing. I like this part. It says, "All the time I knew where I was going. The elements of my fulfillment or ruin were always present. I only had to work my way into the seam of desire and find the hidden vein of dross or gold. It is not a question of predestination. It is just that free will and destiny are illusions, false opposites, consolations. In the end, they are one and the same, a single process. You choose what you choose, and it could not have been otherwise. The choice is destiny. It was there all along. But any alternative you might have considered is an absurd diversion, because it is in your nature to make one choice rather than the other. That is identity." Also, I like this. "I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew what I was expected to do by other people, by myself. It didn't matter. Every time I found myself making decisions, it was because I had to reconcile the two, the desire and the expectation, and the desire always won." So yes, zero feelings and is just driven by his id, if you want to get Freudian, and doing what he wants to do. Damn, hurting other people does not give a damn. There is sexual assault in here, it's not described, and taking what he wants from someone, even without verbal consent. And then there's casually breaks a little boy's fingers, all of them. He has a very unhealthy relationship with his mother. It's very Norman Bates. We're getting more of that information of that in here. It says, "Mother is still the only person who's completely real for me." So he's the only, his mother is the only person that he's ever, I guess, felt connected to. And then this is also incorporating like real life cases of instances in psychological history where there's been children who have grown up not speaking without any language because they were abused or deprivation. So it talks about like the Kennedy twins and Jeannie and those famous cases as well. And I was like, I remember while I was reading, I was like, those are real ones, right? Like I remember those. So I looked it up and yeah, they're the ones from Psych 101 or Psych History that I remembered. So yes, I'm really enjoying this. Like I really am liking the writing a whole lot. It's just like gripping me. It's very interesting. I haven't read any Bret Easton Ellis yet. I have both of those like that I want to read really soon because I do enjoy a detached narrator. I enjoy being in their brain because it's just so fascinating to me how those brains work. And I know they're not always serial killers and stuff, but like it's just so fascinating to me how cold and detached the writing is. And I just really like it. So it reminded me, I haven't read any of that, but I imagine it's similar. And then also Perfume, because that is a very detached from the world character as well. It's just crazy plot in the very end. I really enjoyed this. What else? There's another quote I read. He's doing the classic dissecting dead animals, collecting animal skulls. He talks about wanting to move on to living subjects. He says, there is something beautiful in the stillness of death and its irreversibility, but after a time I wanted more than entry to a corpse. I wanted to open up the living creature, to see the heartbeat and how the blood worked. I wanted to act as witness and celebrant in a ceremony of some kind, to feel the pulse in the organs, to watch the life seep away in the eyes of my chosen subject. I believed there would be a moment when the spirit ebbed, and I wanted to know how that happened, how that moment looked. I wanted to see what it was like when the life dissolved, leaving nothing but inert matter. Ooh. So, yep. Luke is an interesting fellow. I have been sitting here all morning reading this pretty much with a couple of phone breaks, bathroom breaks, and puppy breaks. Yeah, I'm on page 111 or 110 now, and we're on part 2, which is titled Lillian, which is when he meets who mothers the twins. So I'm interested to see how that goes. I am just loving this. It is very intriguing to me. Some of it's kind of dry, but it's still like, I just love hearing about this man's mind and how it works. It's very interesting to me and my psychology brain. So now he's meeting this woman that becomes the mother of the twins that he ends up killing, which you know from the very first page. And then part 3 is the twins, and I think that's it for the different parts, but I could be wrong. That's the ones that I've seen. He does talk about how he doesn't know what age Lillian is, and that she looks like she could be a woman but also a girl, and he doesn't really know if she's a child or a woman or at what age she actually is. So that's yucky. But there's a lot of yucky stuff in here, as obviously Luke is not well and not a good person, and so there's a lot of stuff in here, but I wouldn't say it's described in a gross way, really. I mean, it is gross just because of the matter-of-factness of it. Not a whole lot of description. We did get some of the descriptions of him when he is dissecting animals, like live animals, and that was a little yucky, but like there's nothing as so far graphic in here. It's just more the fact that the things that he is doing are awful and evil. But now I'm going to take a little bit of a break because my eyes are getting a little tired of reading, since I've been reading for several hours pretty much straight this morning. Running today because I ran the last 2 days, and my body's just like not feeling all that great at the moment. I'm going to give it a little bit of a break, but I do need to move around. I need to unload the dishwasher. I need to put some clothes away. I want to wipe down the counters in my kitchen, but I want to like take everything out and actually scrub them down, which I haven't done because I haven't done that in a little bit. Wipe down the outside of my refrigerator, that kind of stuff. But first I want to eat some lunch because it's almost noon, and if I get started on that stuff, then I'll forget to eat. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll go upstairs, put the clothes away, get dressed, put some contacts on, come down, have lunch, and then work on wiping down the kitchen. I think that's my plan. Ellie's over here, very sleepy. It's kind of a gloomy day too, so it's a good day for heavy reading, huh? It's a good heavy reading day, huh? You can't even see her. She's just my loaf. She's just my loaf. Say, I loafing. I'm a loafing girl. Yes, I am. I love you so much. I don't want to disturb her, but I know as soon as I get up, she's going to jump down, huh? I'm sorry, but I have to get up. I have things to do. It's almost noon already. I love this girl. She's my baby. A very successful cleaning session. All the things. And now I'm back in my spot and my son's gonna come home and think I was here the whole time and I do nothing all day. I don't know. Sometimes he might come home and be like, say, why is it so clean? Because I don't do all those things usually in one day. Usually I separate them out a little bit, but I'm not running today, so I decided to do that. And the whole time I've been listening to Little Eve by Catriona Ward. I'm quite liking it. It is, let me see, 81%. So it's like a horror thriller. And I kind of like that mix because straight up thrillers don't always work for me. I would say this is more thriller rather than horror. It's a culty book and I'm really liking it. I'm really liking like the manipulation that and learning about all the culty things that they do and how the other people react to them. And I'm curious to see how it all pans out. I'm sure there's some twists and turns. I kind of have some ideas moving around in my brain about what I think might happen, but I'm really close to being done now. So I think I'm gonna finish this now and then continue with the Dumb House. And I might be able to finish both of these today. I started this yesterday, so I'll be able to log those if we haven't unlocked the room yet. I actually haven't checked today. I might be able to put these two in, which will be nice. I'll get 3 for the prompt. And if I need to start something else, I have some ideas, but I'm going to look at what I have on Libby because I'll be finishing my audiobook, what I have on Hoopla. At least going to be a 4, I think, as long as the ending doesn't annoy me. I finished Little Eve by Catriona Ward. I think I'm going to give it a 3.5. I liked it. It was entertaining. It was very atmospheric and moody at points. I liked the ending for the most part. I think the reason it's a 3.5 and not a 4 is because I think it maybe was one too many twists for me towards the end. I start to get twist fatigue when it comes to thrillers that have a few extra twists in there. I don't really think it's needed, and I start to get aggravated, and so I ended up giving it a 3.5. I think this will stay on my shelves for a bit since I do have Catriona Ward's other books. I'm going to read a little bit of this before I have to make dinner in a bit. Kids are both home now. It is cold here still. It was in the 60s today, but it's cloudy all day. So the house hasn't warmed up much. I think it's like 64 in here. We did just get oil though, so that's a fun bill. We'll probably have to turn the heat on. And then it's going to get hot this weekend. So then we'll probably have to put the ACs in. I wish it would make up its mind at this point in May. I feel like it's usually warm enough that you don't have to at least put the heat on. I feel like that's a little ridiculous. So I'm going to continue with Mr. Luke, with who's looking for the soul, where the soul is originating, and he does not seem to have one. Also, before I forget, I want to tell you that there's no chapters in here. So if that's going to annoy you, I'm sorry. But there are some page breaks where You know, there's like a double space where you can take a little break, and there are 3 parts, but it is 200 pages with little to no breaks. I know that will annoy some of you. It doesn't really bother me, although it does keep me reading perhaps longer than I should. Some of the time, like right now, I need to make dinner and I just want to keep reading. But since I've stopped now, maybe I should stop and go make dinner for the children. It is now Thursday morning for me, and I woke up this morning and I felt all right. But then I got up and I started to feel dizzy and like warm and more dizzy, and then I got a headache. So I don't know if it was my blood pressure, which has been fine when I've gone to the doctor. When I had my heart checked out last year around this time, it was fine. Or if it's like some vasovagal stuff. I have suspicion that I have some of that going on. Anyway, throughout my entire life I've had, but it's never been bad enough or consistent or frequent enough that I've had to do much about it other than sit my ass down, lay down, and make sure that I am aware of how my body is feeling. I'm feeling better now, but I don't think I'll run today. I was doing so well before vacation, but then as in like I was running 20 miles a week and feeling pretty good during my run. I ran twice this week, not feeling great. That's a little update on me and my running. I think I'm just going to take a little break today. Not run. I didn't run yesterday. It's raining anyway. And then tomorrow I'll try to go out and run. Maybe I'll get the dogs out for a W later. A WALK later. If the rain isn't too bad. Last night I finished The Dumb House by John Burnside, and I absolutely love this because of the detached writing style. It depersonalizes a little bit, so I didn't feel the effects of it so much, but it's very, like, there's awful things happening in here, and his reactions to it are just almost non-existent and weird, so just be aware of that. There is SA in here. It's not like super described, and he wouldn't describe it as SA at all, but it definitely is. There's child murder in here. There is a lot of animal harm in his childhood, so be aware of that. Like I said, he is cold and detached about it, so it didn't affect me that much, although there was an item towards the end where I was like, oh, I thought we were done with that. I didn't really need that extra little bit of animal harm. But anyways, I just thought this was disturbingly poetic, dark, just beautifully written, but disturbing and dark. It's just interesting to take a look into this person's psyche, and I really, really like this. I'm going to give it 5 stars. Not going to be for everybody. I read The Collector by John Fowles, and like I said, Perfume kind of gave me similar feelings. I did prefer this one over those two in some ways. The Collector is more quietly sinister. It's very sinister, and it is from the point of view of someone who has kidnapped and is keeping prisoner this woman, but kind of feels like he's not a bad guy. But anyways, Dumb House, I'm going to give 5 stars, and I believe we have still not unlocked the room as of this morning when I checked. So we're still reading underhyped books to try to get in the room. I don't know if I'll be able to finish another one before that changes over. I've already given 3, so I've done my part. So I also started reading on audio The Bell Chime by Mona Kabani. It is fairly short little book, so I should be able to finish this, especially since I probably will put it on 2 times speed. Right now it's not. I started at 1.5 speed yesterday while I was doing some things. So yeah, The Bell Chime by Mona Kabani is about a woman who has night terrors, sleep paralysis, and the actual author has that as well, and she takes the idea of writing down some of her night terrors and things and then turns it into this story. It's about a woman who suffers with those things, and one day she sees a missing person poster of herself, of a picture that she's never taken or never posed for, and the look on the person's face is like sinister, and she doesn't know where it came from, so she thinks it might be a prank, and then she keeps on hearing this bell chime. So this one's like a short little weird one. Yeah, I'm liking it so far, and I haven't heard too many people talk about it, so I can count that as underrated. And then this one I was thinking I could count as underrated too, just because I haven't heard very many people talk about this. I might not be in the right spaces to hear very many people talk about this. Nerdy Nat Reads read this, and she really enjoyed it, and I had it on my shelves, so I figured I would give this one a try. But I haven't heard You know, other than that, I haven't heard. Oh, she wrote The Night Before Christmas. I didn't realize that. I enjoyed that one. Check this one out. This is a male fantasy rivals to lovers romance. Yeah, this should be interesting. One of them's a human and one of them's a half elf. One's a pretentious asshole. One is a first-generation college student, and then they're both research grant finalists battling for the same grant, I guess. So I'll give this one a shot. It could be fun. I need something light right now after all the horror I've been reading. So it's 1:21 now, and I'm still in my pajamas, having a bit of a sloth day, staring at the wall. I feel like my mind is just a gobbledygook, which I don't think is fair to this book. Gobbledygook isn't fair to the book. Sebastian's parents were like military and wanted him to go into the military, but he wasn't into it. So he got kicked out of the military school and then got into some minor trouble. Parents, he doesn't feel like his father is proud of him. He's dealing with that. And then the elf guy is like, we haven't really gotten much from him at all, but he seems pretty like chill and cool. And Sebastian thinks he's a Nepo baby, but he really doesn't seem that bad from what we've gotten so far. Sebastian is severely annoying me. He says, oh, my inner voice tells me this. And usually the inner voice is right. I'm like, yeah, listen to it. You're annoying, immature. He's supposed to be almost done with grad school. And he is complaining about having to share this grant with the half elf guy, Elithior or something. He's just complaining and being a total douchebag. And I don't know if I'm going to like this. I thought it would be cute, but it's almost like the way that it's written is more aggravating me. I wish we got a POV from the other one because he seems like he would be more fun to hear from. This might not be for me. I'm on page 69 now, so I think I'm going to give it like 100 pages, and if it's not catching me, I might DNF it and just submit for pages for the readathon. Look at this. I'm in my pajamas, my hair is not done, I'm unshowered, and I still have only one arm on my glass. Anyway, at least my puppies are here. And I am on sprints with Deja too, so at least there's that. At least there's good company. I got 100 pages in and I'm DNFing. I don't like this at all, and I'm sad because I've heard a couple people say they like it. At least some of my mutuals on Goodreads liked this, and I enjoyed A Night Before Christmas and enough. Like, I thought it was a little cringy but kind of cute. I think I gave it a 3. This one, if I finish, maybe it would be a 3, but right now, the way I'm feeling about it, it would be a 2. And so I think it's best that I just DNF it, and that way I don't have to give it a bad rating. I could just say it, this wasn't for me. I'm pretty sure that this wouldn't end up being for me. Let's just say they're 100 pages in. They were working in the lab for a week at this point, and there's been like no interaction between the two of them on page. They have been ignoring each other, which is fine and good, I guess, but there could be like some sort of like interaction between the two, even if it was passive aggressive notes or glares across the room or something. And it was just like, oh no, they've been in there a week and they've been ignoring each other, and we didn't really get any of that. Sebastian is just comes off incredibly immature and annoying. I wouldn't want to work in the same lab with him. I wouldn't want to work collaboratively with him. I wouldn't have to go to banquets and stuff with him and try to get money from donors because he doesn't behave very well for someone who's supposed to be a graduate student. I mean, unfortunately, academia a lot of it is about you have to schmooze and play the game. And he's definitely not willing to do that, which it's not bad to not want to have, like, I don't want to have to do that either, but it's, if you want to actually like make a difference and do research in the things you want to do, sometimes you have to do that. And I guess I'm ranting a little bit, but I don't like this at all. I'm not liking the dialogue. Everything feels clunky to me. There's like this whole war conglomerate, which isn't very cozy or fun to read about. I don't like the backdrop of the fantasy world in this. I don't think it's interesting. We haven't gotten really much of it, which is fine. It's a contemporary romance-ish fantasy romance, so it's like, that's fine. It's not adding anything to the story to make me like it more. I didn't get to any of the spicy bits. They've barely had any interaction so far. Sebastian made a fool of himself in front of Elthior's aunt, which she's a real bitch, so I guess that's okay, but yeah. Not having fun with this one. So I'm gonna call it quits after 100 pages. And I can give this to someone who would like it more, because there are people out there who are liking this one. Hello. I'm still on sprints Ooh, with Deja. Since I DNF'd my last book and it's already 2:36, I think my son's gonna be home in a bit, and if he doesn't need me for anything, then I think I'm gonna sit here and color. I have a cute little coloring page picked out that's space themed. It's from this book, and I think I'm just gonna sit here and color and listen to the bell chime. I'm going to listen to the bell chime on Hoopla while I color if I'm not needed for anything mothery. And then I also wanted to show you that I have my, I think this is Summerween, yeah, Summerween t-shirt on that's got the spaceship on it. It's got the UFO on it to be on theme. And I also did my nails, I don't know if it's spacey themed. I don't know if you can see it though, because it's just not, oh, that's a little better. So yeah, spacey themed nails, my little stubs. That's my plan. I did get up and get out of my pajamas and shower. So that's a win, I guess. Just one of those days today. Everybody has those days sometimes. I just feel bad when I'm like this, but I should just embrace it and just have a chill day. I got a lot done yesterday. My body's telling me, chillax. Especially after Disney last week. That's a lot of walking and a lot of movement and a lot of socialization. So maybe my body's just had a relapse from that. It's just like, nope, you're done. So I have been coloring and listening to the bell chime. I am 63% of the way through, and I am liking this. It's very fever dreamy, and it's, you know, the main character is dealing with a lot of mental health, anxiety, depression, compulsions and things like that. It's reminded me of that episode of Buffy where she's in the mental health hospital a little bit, playing with realities and things. I don't know. If you haven't seen that, you won't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I have to go get my daughter. I have a few errands to run. I gotta get dog food. Just show you my progress on my coloring. Still have quite a bit to do. I'm just kind of getting all the backgrounds colored. Just for funsies. Nothing serious. I don't know if I let you know that scientists are now on Pages again. We're trying to make a decision in our polls as to what we want to do, what our strategy is going to be. So I can't start submitting those until we decide. There's a lot of drama going on in the chat. Everyone's trying to strategize and decide what to do. I don't really care. Just tell me what to do. I'll put my pages where you tell me to put them. Oh, I finished the bell chime. That's like 100 and something pages, so I'll be able to submit pages for that, and then I'll have 100 pages for the wizard book. So that'll be good. I'll just be able to throw almost a whole book's 300 pages into that bucket once they decide what they would like to do. I finished the bell chime, and like I said, and I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think it does what it does really, really well. You definitely feel like the anxiety building up in my body as I read that book. I also finished this one, and it came out okay. I think it's pretty cute. It's my space themed coloring page. Good morning. I'm feeling better than I was yesterday, so that is good. Last night I started reading Grief Eater. I'm not going to talk about this because I'm going to put it in my Ready Set Net vlog, but this is a little vampire novella arc, so I started reading this. I'm about 50% of the way through that. And I also started on audio, if I can reach it, Rights of a Starling, because our team is reading for Pages at the moment, so I'm excited to be able to get to this one. I did like Shield of Sparrows, and then I did a reread or something for a book club, and so it's pretty fresh in my mind, so I'm excited to start this one. I've heard good things. If you like Shield of Sparrows, I feel like people have been liking this one, but we'll see how it goes. Look at those edgies. I have finished Grief Eater, so I am going to submit that for Pages. I think it's like 100 and something pages. I'm not sure, actually. Let me find out. 94 pages, so it's actually under 100 pages. And now I'm going to go on a run and listen to Rights of a Starling, and I'll let you know how that's going. It's Saturday morning, and so the second week of Escape the Readathon is complete. Scientists are doing a fantastic job, in my opinion. The chat's been interesting to keep up with. I am reading Rites of a Starling. I got 66% of the way into this last night, which is about 300 pages. I'm on chapter 40. I'm liking this a lot. I think I'm even liking it better than the first one. The first bit really didn't grab me. I had to get to know the characters in the world first. I really like the world. I think it's interesting and different than some of the other things I've read. You know, there's still tropes in here and everything, but I really liked it. I really like the world, and I'm really intrigued by the monsters in here and what's going on in this one. I can't tell you too much about it because this is the second in the series, Shield of Sparrows being the first one, but in this series we have a princess named Odessa, and she is living in her palace, and she's sort of the spare daughter. In this world, nobles marry off their daughters to other lands so that they strengthen bonds between countries and political stuff. So her sister has been trained to be the sparrow, but when the prince from the other country comes in, they decide they want Odessa instead, and she is wholly unprepared for this. She's been looked over her whole life. Mother died, or her stepmother has not wanted to, no, she doesn't love that she looks like her mother and reminds the king of her mother, and so the stepmother tries to dampen her in any way that she can, but this gives her the opportunity to become her own person and escape the situation that she is in. Then of course this is romantasy, so it's a love story at the center of this, and in this land there are lots of beasts, all different kinds. They're really interesting, but they're very dangerous, and they attack people more often than they should be. You know, usually it wasn't the case that they would attack people. It was just sort of if you were in their territory, or if you were, you know, stupid, they would attack you occasionally. Sort of like how wild animals are here, you know, in the real world, where you don't mess with them, they won't mess with you unless they've got something else going on, but they have been attacking people more regularly, and it seems they have something akin to rabies where they are attacking people just for no reason and acting out of the ordinary. So we are dealing with that in here. At the beginning of the first one, there's a lot of travel, which I didn't love, which is weird because there's a lot of travel in this one as well, and I really loved it in here. We're getting some new POVs in here, which I think are really interesting and deepen the understanding of the world. As in a lot of romantasy, the couple gets separated for a little while in this one. Sometimes that makes me like a book less because you are not dealing with the romance anymore for a little bit. But I do like the yearning, and what was happening in this while they were separated was interesting enough, and the world is rich enough that I really still enjoyed it while they were apart. I'm not going to finish it here in this vlog since the week is over, but I will finish it for the next one and let you know how I felt in the end. Oh, I think this will end up being at least a 4, so I'm having a good time. I also started Girl's Girl by Sonia Feldman for my Ready Set Net vlog. This is a sapphic coming of age story. So you'll hear about that more in my other vlog. Yesterday, I also wanted to say that I stopped by the library and my local indie. I stopped at my library to pick up some holds. So I got The Bitter Twins, which is this book that comes after the 9th grade. So I'm excited to read this one. It's been well loved, so it's like super floppy, and that makes me very happy. I'm going to enjoy reading this copy. There's just something about a nice floppy paperback that is just so enticing to me. So, and not to mention I love the first one, so I'm excited to get to this one. And then I picked up Summer Reading by Jen McKinley, which I had never really heard about her before, but she is going to be at my library in the beginning of June. And my friend Cameron is a fan, so she wanted to know if I would go with her. So I'm going to go with her, and I figured I probably should read something. I don't like the font in here, though. It's not aesthetically pleasing. An odd choice, in my opinion. But anyways, and then at the indie, I picked up Boring Asian Female. Heard about this one. The cover was cool, and it was at my local, and I like to support them. And so if they have something I'm interested in, I do try to grab something from them once a month. And this, they don't really carry a lot of things that are up my alley, but they have been trying to get a little bit more horror for me, and so I try to support that when possible. I know this one isn't necessarily horror. I think it's a lit fic, but it does look like it's like a darkly funny lit fic. I am going to end this vlog there. I hope the scientists had a fantastic week, and I hope everybody else had a good week as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what team you're on if you're doing Escape the Readathon. And I will see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.